The Wisconsin Supreme Court overturns ruling that barred most ballot drop boxes. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new video, and today we have to discuss the Wisconsin Supreme Court because they just delivered what could very well be one of the biggest defeats we've had in recent memory in Wisconsin. Because, well, look at this. The Wisconsin Supreme Court overturns ruling that barred most ballot drop boxes. Yeah. Find it very odd how they suddenly realized, oh, wait a minute, drop boxes are actually legal, after just 2 years ago saying, no, wait, drop boxes are illegal. You know the only difference between now and then is? The Supreme Court in Wisconsin is majority liberal. Think about that for a second. It hasn't even been 2 years, and the Supreme Court decided, actually, we were wrong beforehand, so we're gonna overturn our own decision less than 2 years after the fact. So let us get into it. The Wisconsin Supreme Court on Friday ruled 4-3 to reinstate the use of most ballot drop boxes across the crucial battleground state, overturning a decision made less than 2 years ago that banned the use of most of those boxes. Our decision today does not force or require any clerk to use drop boxes, the decision Friday read. It merely acknowledges that clerks may lawfully utilize secure drop boxes, which I think is a big problem. Because this sounds like a very gray area in the law where, okay, a clerk in, say, Milwaukee decides to have drop boxes everywhere, but a clerk in Waukesha decides, nope, we're not going to have a single drop box in the county, or something crazy like that. Does no one see a problem with that? I do. Because let's just say, okay, you have a corrupt clerk in Waukesha that's a Democrat, and they know Waukesha is much more Republican. What if clerks decide, no drop boxes in Waukesha, the Republican part of the state? Okay? Does no one see an issue with that? While Milwaukee, they can have hundreds, if not thousands, of these drop boxes, which are not secure. Seriously, there are so many problems with them, we're not going to get into it, but there are some serious questions surrounding these drop boxes. But either way, why do they say, oh yeah, some clerks can decide not to have drop boxes? Why? That opens a can of worms of each county, theoretically, could have their own laws when it comes to voting. Some counties allow drop boxes everywhere, some of them don't. That's not fair. Especially to voters in rural Wisconsin. I mean, seriously, how do you expect voters in, let's just say, Taylor County, okay, fairly rural, are you going to tell me with a straight face they're going to have funding to have 500 drop boxes everywhere? No. Milwaukee, on the other hand, they're going to have, I guarantee you, thousands of these drop boxes just everywhere. There are some serious problems here, and no one's mentioning it. No one's talking about the fact that one corrupt clerk in a deep red area could just screw those voters over by saying, well, we cannot have drop boxes here because reasons, but Milwaukee can have 500 of them. That's a legitimate concern. If they would have just said, each county should have, drop boxes, whatever, that's one thing. But that's not what the Supreme Court said or did. They said, no, it's up to the clerks to decide if they want drop boxes in their county, their area, whatever. That's not fair. And you're just allowing these clerks to usurp law. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're going through actually ignoring the state legislature completely and saying it's up to the clerks to have these drop boxes. No, it's not. It's up to the legislator to decide this stuff, not the Supreme Court to say, yeah, these clerks have 100% power over drop boxes, which, again, there are so many problems with this. While the ruling had been largely expected after the court's liberal justice signaled their positioning on the issue during oral arguments of the case in May, it is likely to have huge ramifications on the 2024 election in the crucial battleground because it effectively permits the broad use of ballot drop boxes. And we know from 2020, these drop boxes help Democrats. They just do. Because, they're convenient, they're right in the open, you can vote, whatever, okay? That's why Democrats want it. They're having such huge problems with turnout, they really believe if we get drop boxes on every corner, in only Milwaukee and Madison, screw Green Bay, screw, Waukesha, screw all those cities. These drop boxes must only be in Milwaukee because democracy. How is that fair? I don't know. But either way, these drop boxes, they help Democrats because they have machines in Madison and Milwaukee. Republicans are starting to get that point where they have, some kind of early vote operation. Kind of. But it's nowhere near what Democrats have. I mean, they've perfected this after years of testing. That's the reality of it. It's not illegal, by the way. It is morally questionable. It's a gray area, fine, but it is technically legal, what they do in Wisconsin. Technically. And I wish Republicans would fully embrace it. Again, they're starting to kind of a little bit, but it's not enough. You need a full operation like Democrats have, where they can just get a bunch of people to vote easy, right? Get a bunch of their voters out to vote no matter what happens. That's why they're able to win low turnout races by a lot, like funny enough, the Supreme Court race in 2023 with Dan Kelly. He got crushed. And that's because Democrats got their voters out. Republicans failed to do so. In 2020, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, Democrats widely encouraged their voters to use the drop boxes and are expected to do so again this fall. They're always going to do this, by the way. They're going to use any legal loophole they can. Like I said, some people might say it's illegal. What they do is a gray area in the law. But it is legal what they do in Wisconsin, right? Some other states have different laws, but what they do in Milwaukee and Madison, you could say it's illegal. It's not, but it's still one of those things where it's ridiculous that we have drop boxes. Seriously, why do we need drop boxes? Why? They're not secure. And I'm not even talking about alleged ballot stuffing. That's a whole separate can of worms. I'm talking about, okay, some nut job could break into the, drop box, destroy ballots, change them, whatever. That's possible. And people might be saying, well, there's cameras on some of them. Yes, some of them. There are plenty of drop boxes where no one pays attention to. No one watches them. So there are big question marks surrounding them. Again, the idea of them seem okay on paper. Like, okay, people vote by mail. They decide to just drop it off themselves. Okay. But the way it's handled in Wisconsin is stupid. It's a dumb system, and frankly, you could say it's corrupt. Especially after this decision where they said, yeah, it's up to the clerks. No, it's not. It's up to the state legislator to decide if these drop boxes are legal and how they function. Yes, I understand that clerks enforce the law, but they don't create law. They don't decide, yeah, I don't want drop boxes in Waukesha because it's too conservative, for example. But we're going to stack it up. We're going to stack drop boxes and say Brookfield or whatever, because it's maybe more Democrat leaning. It's an example, right? That's the big problem with drop boxes, especially with how Wisconsin is dealing with them. It's very corrupt. The Wisconsin Elections Commission, which oversees elections in the state, approved funding in the expanded use of drop boxes during the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, which was illegal. What they did was say, screw the state legislator, we are going to decide ourselves, we want drop boxes. That's what they did. And they abused the law quite a bit. This is not a conspiracy. This is a fact. They abused their powers to expand the use of drop boxes without the permission of the legislator. They just said, COVID-19 gives us this power. It doesn't. Nowhere in the state constitution does it say, yeah, if there's a pandemic, the election commission can change all the laws. No, there's nothing like that. And in July of 2022, the Supreme Court ruled, yeah, it was illegal what the election commission did. And only one body has the power to change the law, the legislator. It's not up to the commission. It's not up to the governor. It's not up to the clerks. Again, the clerks enforce the law. Same thing with the election commission. That's one thing. They have to enforce the law somehow. That's a whole separate argument. What they're saying here is they can create law. They can decide if they want drop boxes or not. Why? Where in the state constitution does it say, yeah, the election commission has full power to decide the use of drop boxes? You're not going to find anything like that. The Supreme Court just made it up. They just thought, oh, it helps Democrats, so we're gonna say, yeah, the election commission has 100% power over this, which is not the point of the commission. The whole point was to enforce the law. That's it. Make sure the elections were run smoothly, not we decide everything. But sadly, the commission is very corrupt, and now the Supreme Court gave them the go-ahead to do whatever they want. Does no one see a problem with this? Unelected officials deciding how the elections should be run. I don't care if the conservatives run the commission or the liberals. The conservatives obviously don't, but you get the point. It doesn't matter who runs the commission or not. The commission was never meant to be, oh yeah, we decide how elections are actually ran. No, that was never the point. Now, some people, actually many people are dooming at this news that, well, this is the end of Trump in Wisconsin. There's no way he can win. It's all over. Yeah, we're going to lose Wisconsin. No. For one, stop thinking like this. This thinking that if we have one defeat in the Supreme Court of Wisconsin, that means we have lost Wisconsin forever, is complete BS. Don't actually believe this idea that we're done. First of all, that gets us nowhere. Like, you just give up on Wisconsin because of one decision? No. What you do is look at the decision and say, okay, let's do the same thing Democrats do. Let's have hundreds of drop boxes in Waukesha, in Green Bay, in La Crosse, etc. Do the same thing as Democrats do. Hell, why stop there? Why don't we do better than Democrats? Why? Why do we just have to give up on early voting? That's stupid. I'm glad the Republican Party is starting to realize we have to vote early, but it's still nowhere near what it should be. We should have a massive early vote operation to a point where we bank in more votes than Democrats do. I really believe we can do that, and we should, because that's how you win elections now. The more people you get out to vote, you win. Common sense. And now with early voting, that's where elections are won or lost now. If early voting's super Democrat and it's high turnout, they're probably going to win. If it's 50-50 and it's maybe higher turnout, Republicans benefit. Hell, they win. So Republicans have to embrace this new early voting. They just have to. Because it's not going to get much easier. And you're not going to just win by, ignoring the Supreme Court's decision and doing nothing. No, embrace it. It's a shit decision, but it's a law. If it's the law in Wisconsin, why don't you use it to your advantage? Why? Why do we have to just say, well, we can't do it because Democrats are immoral? Who frickin' cares? We have to do the same thing if we want to win. Do you want to change the law? Do the same thing they do. And when you win, change the law. Don't just sit back and do nothing and complain and say, it's over, Trump can't win Wisconsin, it's a blue wave. Stop thinking like that. It helps no one. Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Godspeed to all of you.